Hello guys, welcome to episode 18 of the Sling Den, and today I've got a fellow countryman, one of the nicest guys in the community, one of the best shots, who's run competitions up and down the country. He also started what I believe is the first Catapult club in the UK of Welsh warriors, and that is none other than Terence Hogan. How you doing, Terence?
Hello, Benji, buddy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on. All I've heard from people is about how much of a nice guy you are. So, we're going to get into detail about why that is. But first of all, let's just talk a little bit about you and give the listeners and the watchers a quick idea of exactly who you are.
Obviously, I'm Terence Hogan, but on Facebook, I'm Terence Hogan due to my joint account with the wife. So everybody knows me as Terence Hogan. I'm a happily married man. Been with my wife for 26 years, and we've been married for 22. We've got 4 lovely children together and 7 grandchildren.
Big family then.
Not bad, aye.
And does she shoot a catapult?
She has shot a catapult in the past, but she got a couple of trophies herself. So, yeah, she's not a bad shot, but I don't think it's for her right.
And what about you? I spoke to you briefly the other day, didn't I? And you said you've been shooting for around 10 years. What first got you into shooting?
2015, my wife bought a new what do you call it? Television, and it was a smart one, and it had Bluetooth. So I was flicking around on it, and I come up to see a video clip of Gamekeeper John doing an hunting video, and it was absolutely amazing. So I was like, oh my God, wow. I'm going to go out in the shed and make myself a catapult. So out I goes. Wife said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go make myself a catapult. She said, I can't do video. So out I goes, make myself a catapult, go online, buy bands from the internet, banded it up there at the back garden. First couple of shots, I couldn't hit the bloody band over it. So anyway, what do I do now? I think to myself, right, go back on YouTube, back on Gamekeeper John, learn how to shoot a catapult. There he is, Gamekeeper John, with a video. So I followed that video, went back out the back garden, started shooting over it. The sun come up over the hill, shone me in the eye, and I put a ball bearing straight to my finger. So I'm holding my finger now in the back garden, innit? And the wife now looking through the window. Are you okay? I said, I bloody shot myself. She went, is it bad? I said, I'm afraid to look. So when I finally had the courage to have a look, I could see half my finger was hanging out. They gave me some gorilla tape. I taped it up and I went back shooting. And that's how I started.
So your first, what I'm going to guess is your first frame was a natty that you built yourself, is that right?
Yeah, I went in the shed, built my own natty.
Have you still got that?
Oh my God, no. I give it away.
So when was it that you bought your first, frame? Obviously things have advanced a little bit now, but even 10 years ago, they were still quite ergonomic in a sense. So what was your first frame that you actually went out and purchased?
Oh, my first frame. Oh yeah. Oh, love. Right. It's in my Catapult box upstairs, but obviously I'm going to have to run up and get it.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Go and get it. I'm sure we'd love to see it. Can edit that bit later.
So anyway, the first Catapult I ever bought was this one.
TTF.
The R10 Evolution. Through the forks.
That's quite a smart frame for your first one.
Yeah, I did it once or twice, but I rubbed it out.
And that's
So that
TTF.
was,
So when you shot your natty, was that an OTT natty that you kind of put the bands on, or were you shooting that TTF as well?
oh, that was through the forks as well.
Right. So are you through the fork shooter now, or
No,
no?
I started off on through the forks. I was getting good with it, but when he was going out the distance, I seemed to find that through the forks hit the target, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I finished with it through the forks, because I was shooting the Axiom champ through here.
Nice.
So I shot that for years through the fork, and now I got it banded up over the top.
Right.
So yeah, I tried for a couple of years through the forks. It was okay at 10 meters, it was a demon at 10 meters, but as you started going out the distances, then it started hiding the target that you're trying to hit.
A lot of people have said that. That's the feedback. I've
Yeah,
never been massive into through the fork, to be honest. I've always been OTT. I started with OTT, and I've kind of stuck to it. But that's one of the things I've heard a lot of people say is the distance is the biggest difference between the two. You know, when you're at 10 meters, you know you can be just as successful with one as the
yeah,
other. With when it comes to shooting a bigger distance, that's where you kind of see a different comparison.
yeah. When I used to shoot this one, the Axiom champ, which was gifted to me by Kevin Lloyd, when I was shooting that through the fork, at 10 meters, that was a demon.
Mm.
But again, at distances then I was struggling, so I had to change it.
So obviously you said about seeing Gamekeeper John. I had exactly the same experience. I think it was a picture from Wayne Martin I seen, and then I kind of spiraled and I seen Gamekeeper John. I seen Chris Graffin. I seen these hunting videos, and that's what really got me into shooting.
Yeah.
I now understand. Obviously, you've done a lot to do with competitions and things like that, which we're going to touch on. But was it mainly the hunting? Was that the reason you kind of got into it, seeing as you seen Gamekeeper John do his thing, or was it just a case of you were quite impressed with what you could do with one?
Well, when I seen Gamekeeper John hunting with a catapult, I thought it was absolutely amazing. At the end of the day, everybody's entitled to forage off the land, hunt off the land, feed yourselves. That will never change. That will always be the same. But I didn't actually get into catapult shooting for hunting. I just did it for a hobby for myself.
Hmm.
Uh, it helped me because I had a bit of mental health issues and I was out the back garden. Once I had a catapult in my hand, all them problems disappeared, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So it wasn't really anything inside with me. It was basically just a hobby and releasing my pressure, my stress.
Yeah.
But obviously it went on from there then to progress into where I thought I was good enough so that I could enter competitions.
Hmm. And I'm the same. It is a huge thing for people who, if anyone's kind of struggle with mental health. Some people aren't sporty or anything else like that, so it's difficult for them to get outdoors and do an activity. But when you've got a catapult in your back pocket and you go down into the woods and stuff, you could spend an hour just plinking at a can or something, and like you said, all that pressure just dissolves. It's such a good feeling being able to be out in nature, have something that's so cheap to kind of do as well. Do you know what I mean? It costs next to nothing.
Exactly.
So
It's therapeutic.
yeah, it is. It's a fantastic hobby, and that's why we've had a bit of bad press and stuff as of late. But I think one of the biggest things is all the good that it does, and you highlighted that there, being in that state of mental health and using catapults really to get you out of it and kind of suppress that and get you feeling better again, right?
Exactly. With the catapult, it's so therapeutic shooting it, and all your troubles just disappear.
Hmm.
And you phone up your friends and so forth, you all meet up and you all have a little shoot together, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Shooting catapults. I love shooting catapults. I've met so many beautiful, wonderful people in this world through shooting catapults, and the catapult community is absolutely amazing.
And I can vouch that I've been in the hobby a fraction of what you have, and already I've met what I'd consider my best friends. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. It's bizarre, and I think it's just and I've said it many times on this podcast. It's just like-minded people. What I tend to find is people who are into shooting catapults and who tend to hang around the hobby for a while tend to be like-minded people, and it's generally quite easy to get on with each other, isn't it? But you said there about you kind of felt like you were good enough to go into a competition and stuff. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about a little bit about your first competition, how that went, and why you went about entering.
Um, well, I phoned up Keith Baker, and there was a shoot in Barcelona, and it was many years ago. I think it was back in 2016. So I started in 2015. I entered my first competition in 2016. And I met a gentleman there called Kevin Lloyd. And he took me under his wing. And I done a bit of shooting with him through the day. Obviously, he knew that I was a novice. I'd never done it before. And we went through that competition, and I was quite happy with myself of the outcome. But that was my first ever competition. And Kevin Lloyd gifted me a badge in for that first competition I entered. I got through a couple of times, but never good enough to be with the big boys, you know what I mean?
And what was it about entering the competition? Because for me, it's not something that's been massively important to me. I've never really wanted to enter a competition. I've been quite competitive in a lot of things through my life, but I think for me, catapults has always been that thing that I can go off into the woods on my own and kind of, do my own thing. However, what I've learned recently is shooting with other people is a lot of fun, and I've kind of got the bug for shooting with other people. And
Yeah.
there's a meet going on, there's a little competition, isn't it, in September, which I'm coming along to, and I cannot wait. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't expect myself to go and win anything or do anything, but to be honest with you, I'm just really, really excited to go and take part. So, talk a little bit about what it's like going into your first competition. Because everything I've heard from anyone that's gone is it's not about winning and all that sort of stuff. It's just about going and having a good time.
No. Yeah, for me, it was just go in, meeting people like myself, getting to know them, have a bit of banter, a bit of shoot, having fun, and coming home and enjoying yourself. Doesn't matter if you win a trophy or not. You've had a fantastic day and nothing but fun with great minded people.
So, how long was it
Always,
after you entered that competition? Because I know you've run quite a few competitions, and I'm not sure whether it was yourself or whether it was Kevin Lloyd. It was an old Gamekeeper John video where he done a video on him going to a competition, and I'm sure you were there. I don't know whether you were giving out the trophies or something.
that was my first ever competition I put on, and Gamekeeper John was our star guest.
Right.
And obviously, he interviewed me and Nick Wick.
And how was that? Why did you decide to put on your own competition?
Um, there was only so many shoots a year, and there was a big gap between them all. So I decided, well, me, Kevin Lloyd, Nick Wick, we all got together and we decided to put competition on for everybody. And it took off. I mean, we did it every year.
And how was that? Because from the video, it looked like a great event. I think you even had a couple of youngsters competing and stuff as well.
It was amazing.
And
It's very, it's very stressful. People don't realise how much stress you're under to put these competitions on. It's mind blowing. You've got to think of everything. You know, the place where you're shooting, the insurance, the price of trophies, price of the building that you're in. There's so much pressure on it. It was unbelievable.
And we're quite lucky these days where there is a few more shoots, isn't there? I mean, it probably could do with a few more. I'm sure that that people would pack up and get out every weekend if they could. But I've seen a couple now throughout the UK, which is really really good to see, especially since kind of COVID's kind of disappeared. There's a lot more opening up and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about you. What's your kind of main goal in the long run. Obviously, you're having a good time. You're entering competitions. You've hosted competitions. I know you started a Catapult club as well. But what's next for you? What are you looking to do in the next coming years?
Um, I would like to see everybody come together in a kind of a community and push forward so that we can get into the Olympics. That would be my goal.
Mm. And I know
But I
this.
enjoy shooting with everybody. It doesn't matter if it's for trophies, or if it's for fun, or just get together on a weekend and have a good time. It doesn't really matter. But deep down, we want to push it forward to be in the Olympics. We've got archery in the Olympics, we've got pistol shooting in the Olympics, so why not can we have catapult?
I agree, and I think one thing that could help. There's a lot of like I said, there's competitions that seem to be popping up quite often now in the UK, but other than the European Championships, and I know Harrogate's quite big as well, but I think one big one that everybody gets to would be ideal. Do you know what I mean? Like what? Just one big UK based competition every single year, I think would do wonders. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I think we did have one big one a couple of years back, the ESF one, and I think it was 352 shooters from all around the world, which went very well.
Mm.
But obviously, COVID kicked in, and after that, it never happened again. So hopefully, we can follow China, Italy, and have a world shoot over there. You never know; it could happen.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and I think I've read somewhere that you have to have a certain amount of countries participate or be interested. So, I think the more we do, the more it spreads. Because I think, to be honest with you, I'm quite happy with the amount of people that are in the UK shooting. We look at the size of the country and how many people are shooting. There's quite a few shooters in the UK. How do you think we can get it spread throughout other countries?
Well, the way forward, I think, is what Team Grizzly are doing. Russ Connor, the big sexy grizzly bear, he's getting it right there because he's putting it out live. So he's doing little competitions for everybody in the world to enter.
Mm.
It's up to them whether they want to enter. He's not pushing anybody, but he can enter the world.
Mm.
And I think that'd be the way forward to get everybody to live what Russ is doing right now. I think I think it's amazing what he's doing. I love watching all his live shoots,
I've seen.
and I support the boys the best I can.
I spoke to Dave Smith about that and sort of the online
Now,
competitions.
Dave Smith, he is an unbelievable shooter.
And I think, that's one thing that kind of goes under the radar a bit. I've seen a couple of groups and I've seen a couple of things, but, I think it's massive in certain countries like Indonesia and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think we're quite mainstream as a country, just like, the USA, where there are a lot of YouTube channels and there's quite a few big events and there's a lot of big name makers around. Whereas when you go to sort of Asia and things like that, it's not as big in that sense. But some of the shooters they've got, when you see them enter the competitions,
very
they're
good.
top level. Do you know what I mean? So I think
Yeah,
online competitions definitely goes under the radar. But that's a very good shout. That's something I didn't think about. I think having online
I,
competitions, having people be
I've
able
had the pleasure.
to. Mm,
I've had the pleasure of shooting with Dave Smith. He's an amazing shooter.
mm. And I think, to be honest with you, if we did have one big UK based one, and we got, I think I was speaking to Ian Jones about it, is if we got some sort of camera crew there, some, big kind of style thing, and put something out there, that's going to encourage more people.
Yes, exactly.
Because if you look at the equipment and stuff that we're using now, it's it's drastically changed. Now you'll be able to tell me a little bit better about that because I've not been in the hobby as long as you have. But what have you seen change the most in terms of equipment. You know, when we look back sort of 10 years ago, I think a lot of people were on TheraBand Gold or GZK. And now we've
Yeah,
got a vast amount of different bands and things like that.
yes, yes,
What's the biggest
obviously.
changes for you?
Years ago, I saw it was a Teraband Gold, and you could only shoot 9.5 steel ball bearings.
Hmm.
Now, you can shoot all different types of bands, because everybody's making them now, and you can shoot everything in the competition from 6 mil all the way up to 10 mil.
Mm.
So, you've got different varieties now for everybody. You ever shoot whatever type of bands, every type of steels. So what the problem is you've got to settle down with one frame.
Mm.
I get used to shooting on one frame with one set of bands, with one set of ball bearing to match that band.
Mm.
And then obviously your consistency get better and then you become an amazing shooter. But me, I just shoot every catapult I got. So I never actually settle down to shoot just one band because I love shooting all my catapults.
Mm. And what would you say was the biggest change for you? You know, when did you start to realise? Was it a slow process where, you know, everything gradually? Because for me, it seems to be going so fast. It seems like every couple of months there's something new coming out or some game changer coming out. You know, is it always been like that for you, or is it only in recent years that things have advanced that much?
No, the first couple of years when I started, it was always Saraband Gold and shooting catapults and always 9.5. But all of a sudden, I think it was after Chinese competition, when England went over to China to shoot there, they come back and then everything changed. So you could shoot a 6 mil all the way up to 10 mil. All the bands changed because obviously China was sending over bands. And then well, the world is your oyster because you can pick and choose whatever you want there.
Mm.
So it wasn't like a slow process, it happened quite quickly.
I mean, for me, I've always kind of seen it as a separate side of the hobby. I've always, you know, I've been into fishing and other bits like that, and I've always been interested in trying out new bits of equipment and stuff like that. So for me, it's ideal because trying out new bands and different frames, and you know, my big thing at the moment is pouches. I don't know what it is. I'm absolutely obsessed with trying different pouches, but you know.
But the catapult side as well, the catapults all change. It's like every couple of weeks there's a different catapult.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was like, oh, so I'll buy that one. I'll try that one to see if I'm better than that one. Eventually, you've got that bug and then you're just buying a catapult every couple of weeks.
I've honestly tried so hard, and I've said this since before Christmas. I've said to myself, I want to shoot one frame and just get deadly accurate with one frame. And what I did start to realise is it's not so much about the frame, it's more about the bands and the taper and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you know, it's quite difficult to also stick to one frame because you'll be using something and it just becomes your everyday carry. It becomes the norm. You know, it's in your pocket, it's in your car, and you keep seeing it every day. And then all of a sudden, another one on your shelf will catch you, and you go, oh, I'm just going to go out with that. Then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks have gone by, and you've been shooting another frame for a couple of weeks. So it's so hard to stick to one frame.
Exactly. I got so many frames by hand for me, it's unbelievable. You know, through the years you just pick up different catapults all the time and shoot them for a bit and then you move on. Pick another catapult up and you move on. So you end up with like 70, 80 catapults, but in a competition you only shoot one.
Yeah, that's it.
So
And what about you? What is your go-to setup? So if you were entering a competition this weekend, what are you taking with you? What frame, what bands, what taper, and what ammo are you using?
but I basically shoot two catapults in a competition. So I got this one, which is the Aurora Ray
Nice,
Apex, and that was made by John Jeffries,
beautiful
and
frame.
this was a custom-made build for my granddaughter when I was across the match. Obviously, my granddaughter passed away, so hence why this one means so much to me.
Uh-huh.
The other second one then is the next gen. This is a one of a kind, there's no other one like it. And this was made by John Cleese. And they are basically the two catapults that I shoot in competition.
And what about the bands and the taper?
Oh, sorry. Dark Destroyer, 0.45, 20 to 15, 7 mil ball bearing, and they was off Richard Rogers.
Nice.
And I saw both catapults.
Now I have seen you shoot something else, and I need to ask about it. This big.
Is that this one?
No, no, no. We will talk about that in a second, but it's about the size of this. It's this big thing that's got like a what looks like a trigger.
Oh, no, go get my Starship.
That's the name. The name kind of sounds like the one I'm talking about, the Starship. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's the
seems to be.
Starship, yeah. Who made the one? Oh, bloody hell.
I've not seen anything like it before, to be honest. I know Andy Mond has got. He showed me looks like a molded pinch frame that he's got, and that's like a huge handle thing as well. I don't know whether it's made by the same person, but they're quite similar.
Yeah, this is, oh, right, forgot about this one, yeah?
That's the one.
Oh,
I've never
right.
seen anything like that before.
Well, I call this Skeleton because I don't even know who made it.
Looks like
Yeah.
looks like Alien from the film.
Yeah. Right,
That is insane.
I had this one off Mick West. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, that.
It is a bit strange.
But it does shoot very well.
So it looks like it'd be comfortable with the size of it. I mean, I don't know about it being pocketable, but it does look like it can. Yeah,
It's definitely not possible.
yeah.
Nice and land, but definitely not possible.
So let's talk about your last shoot. Because I know, I'm quite close with the boys at Leighton Strods and Catties, and they said they met up with you. And
Oh,
tell me a little bit about that meet. What was that like?
what an amazing pair of young lads they are. Unbelievable. Leighton, Strauss and Catties. And his buddy Alan, amazing gentleman. They come up to meet Andy, obviously. We was up there on the mountain with Andy, having a bit of a shoot as we do. And up they turned, and we had the most fantastic pickup ever. What a great bunch of lads. As soon as they come up there, they have gifted everybody a free catapult. And like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah, they are.
They are amazing.
I almost tell them they're too generous with what they do. They go far beyond. In terms of customer service, as a company, they are second to none in my opinion. They really do.
Absolutely amazing. The pair of them are legends. What they're doing for the catapult community is amazing. They're making catapults cheap enough so that everybody can have a catapult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I met up with them about 2 weeks ago, and I got to see their workshop, and it is incredible. It's truly incredible. Neither of them have taken a penny from it. They're constantly trying to advance and step up their frames and stuff like that. And they always say to me, "Oh, what do you think we should sell this at?" And I'll give a price, and it almost goes out at about half the price because like you've seen there, the Pro Spitfire is unbelievable. It's so highly detailed and so well built. It is incredible, and I'm happy to say that I'm very close friends with them, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the future.
The Pro. What a catapult.
And I think, and this is not, I'm not going to go on a rant about this, but I think sometimes when you're new to the hobby, I think some of the older faces may, be rubbed off in the wrong way, or, I have seen it, not a lot, but I have seen people kind of, and I know exactly what it's like when you see new people come up, you're like, oh, the old school people kind of remember it back to the old days, and you see new people coming up, but I think if people got to know, not just Dan and Aaron, but a couple of the other new boys in the hobby, they'll see that they're all, we're all on the right side. We're all trying to advance and help people out. And just like you said, Given
Exactly.
affordable frames, you know, there's a bunch of people out there that are doing it as well. You know, there's Hegarty and Wasp, and there's a bunch of people doing affordable frames.
Yeah, Nick
You know,
Eggedy,
the more
he does
people we got,
nice frames as well, you
yeah,
know, cheap.
the more people we got, you know, having frames available, the better. I've always
Yeah.
said that. You know, even if I
Simon
had my own,
Watt,
yeah, yeah. If I had my
Simon
own,
does
if I
nice
had my own
frames,
company, I'd be
and cheap.
doing the same thing. You know, it's not about being in competition with each other. It's about
No,
giving people who have just got into the hobby, right? What have you got? Oh, I've got 30 quid. Well, you haven't only got one person you can go to and buy a frame. You've got all these people,
loads of
and
people.
these frames are phenomenal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've always said this. My stepson has just got into shooting now. I've been trying to get him to shooting for about a year, and he wouldn't listen. And then he met Dan Layton, and Dan said, "Go on, mate, pick a frame." And you know, we went out to the woods, and he was very, very good. He smashed a whole bunch of cans. He went
Awesome.
into and he said to me the other day, he said, you know, and I think I was talking about a John Jeffries frame. I was like, I need to get myself one day, and he said, well, what's the difference? I said, well, you can shoot a £25 frame just as good as a £300 frame.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things where affordable frames are everywhere at the moment, and it's so nice to see.
They're everywhere. You've got South Wales Khaki, Jordan,
Mm.
34 frames off him, cheap. You've got Ben Priestman, HTH, you know, he sells bands, leather work, so forth. There's loads of people out there. If you want a catapult, you know, you've only got to go on the internet. There's loads of people out there.
Yeah,
John
and
Jeffrey, Asa Wilson, and more custom. You know,
there's
high-end customers. But
there's so
other
many
than
people
that,
out there, and
for the rest, you know, for the good quality catapult and cheap.
you can spend what you want. You know, that's the beauty of it. And I done a top tip video the other day, and one of my tips was learn to tie your own bands. And that's not to knock anyone that's making bands. I know there's a lot of people, you know, that massively help people. You know, by
Yeah,
they do 3 sets for however much. And you know, I did it as a
yeah,
starter when I first started. I didn't know. I didn't even have a clue how to wrap my bands around my frame, let alone tie my own bands. But you know, tying your own bands, you know, for 50 quid, you know, it's another side of the hobby where you can completely customize it to yourself.
yeah. Well, I started making a home, but then again, I have to watch YouTube myself to learn how to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
But then once you get up and running, you're right.
yeah.
But other than that, it was either Richard Rogers, you know, you'd see him for bands, or some Phil Catties, or, you know what I mean? You'd have to shop on YouTube. What's it called? On the internet, you know, eBay, you know, to get bands from China and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Everything is so readily available. You know, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to wait. There's always people there willing to help as well.
12 bill, yeah.
That's
There's
what I
always
like. You
someone out
know,
there.
and I've not dealt with everyone, so I can't vouch on a personal level. But you see so many people. Oh, a newbie comes on the scene. They say, what frame do you recommend, or what bands do you recommend? And you go in the comments, and it's just all these different people, and you know, you can't fault that really. It just shows that there's so many people in this community who are out there. All right, yeah, okay, they might be trying to make a bit of a profit, they might be trying to do stuff for themselves, but ultimately, they are offering support. They are there to help new people get started, and you know, eventually, after a couple of years, you'll kind of decide, okay, those sort of frames are not for me. These sort of bands are not for me, and you know, you find your groove, don't you? So, it's just so good that we got so many people out there.
Yeah, you know, it takes time to exactly find out what catapult you want, what bands you want to use, what size ball bearing you want to use. It takes time. So you will go through the process of buying different types of catapults, different types of bands, different types of ball bearings, and eventually you come to one end that suits you. And then that's the one end that you've got to stay with.
And
Like,
I was go ahead.
go on.
I was going to say I was speaking to a friend of mine at work, Lee. He shoots as well, and I was saying, you know, and I think it was Chris Graffin in one of his videos that I heard him talking about. By trying out new things, you get to learn more, and that didn't really
Yeah,
sink in until sort of recently, because I went to 9.5s for a good couple of months. I'd probably say about 6-7 months, just because I always shot eights, and I shot 10.5s and I shot 9.5s. And obviously, when you go with a heavier ammo, you're having to judge the drop a little bit more, and the bands are a little bit more. You got a bit more tension. And when I went down to 8s, it was like easy mode. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and again, that's learning with different things. So I think it is quite important to try out new things, and it's one of those things where you don't know until you've tried it what you like or what you don't like. I mean, I'm not going to try long draw. I don't know how many people have tried to get me to shoot long draw. Maybe one day. I've still got the band here somewhere. There we go. Maybe one day I will give it a go, but pickle fork, long draw, TTF, they're not things that I'm massively interested in, to be honest with you. But I know
I shot a pickle. I shot a pickle fork on butterfly. That's a bit of a naughty one, let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes you skip your face.
And you see some people, shoot them so good. Smo over in the States, Lee, under me Sling ting, he's shooting a lot of pickle fork at the moment, and you see some of them, and I'm just like, it's crazy, because obviously you've got the slight twist of the pouch, and you've got to set things up slightly differently, and I feel like I'm still learning just the normal stuff. I'm still trying to become an absolute sniper with, short draw, OTT. So I'm not ready to go and jump on any other bandwagon and try something new. Not to that extent, anyway. But I have tried different bands, different tapers, different ammo, and different frames. But I think that's as far as I will go for now.
I love shooting pickle forks. Again, that's therapeutic for me. But there are shooters out there way better than what I am. There's John Jeffries and stuff. Unbelievable pickle fork shooter. Darren Hurd. Unbelievable shooter. Now I come joint third with him with Jumbo in the last competition of King Worcester. But yeah, I shot well, but not good enough. But them three will always be up there.
Yeah.
And recently, Andy Mould has become a really good pickle fork shooter.
Has he?
He's getting better anyway. He's getting really
He's
good.
kept that quiet.
Yeah, he is right. So the next competition is in Gloucester, the ESF, but a pickle fork competition. So he's trying to practice on. He's a little dark horse,
One day I'll have to give it a go, but it's just I don't know. There's something about it.
Give it a go. At the end of the day, you might surprise yourself.
That's true. I might. A lot of people have said that about long draw. I don't know if you've ever, tried it to a certain length, but there's a lot of people that have started with short draw and they've gone on to long draw and they go, oh, I find it a lot easier. But I don't know. I quite like my cheeks the way they are, to be honest.
Yeah, I've done long draw. I've done semi-butterfly with a pickle. But now for me, shooting a pickle is short. Because obviously now I've got a big one. I can't do I used to shoot up here. Right. And then they take my glasses off my face. So I got to come down and do short. So I have to learn to shoot a pickle fork all over again.
Now, in terms of competitions, obviously you've got quite a few trophies to your name. What are they in? Are they in different disciplines? So is it like distance shooting, speed shooting, knockdowns, things like that? Is there a variety of different competitions?
I've got a few trophies in the pickle fork. I've got Parliament Challenge trophy. I've got the step back. I come third for Jumbo John Jeffries. I got third in the Anchor with Bristol Pirates. I got winner in the Killer. That was in. What's that one there? I've only got a couple of points. Killer. Oh, Valley's Van. What's that other one there? Team trophy I got now. Third in the entrance pro, yeah. What's the team trophy?
Bristol Warriors.
Bristol Pirates and the Warriors in the company that we won overall. team.
So talk a bit about Welsh Warriors, because you mentioned to me there, the Welsh Warriors was the Catapult club where you're from. What started that, and how did that come about?
Well, a few of us went up to Sheffield to shoot up there with Stickman, Jumbo Willis and so forth. We had a day up there shooting, and on the way back home, me, Kevin Lloyd, Jason Morgan, Michael Bateman, Craig Lockie, we all decided to start our own club because there was no club. So when we finally got home, the following day I phoned up Kevin Lloyd and said, look, should we set up the Welsh Warriors club? So me and Kevin Lloyd got it going, and Jason Morgan and on Facebook and so forth. So we had a little place then, and we had it running for a couple of years. And then obviously I was getting stressed out and this and that. So I handed it over then to Kevin Lloyd. And Kevin Lloyd took it on then, and then obviously he kept it going. But I'm no longer in the Welsh Warriors club, but I'm still friends with everyone.
So is it still going? Are they shooting regularly together? Is that like an ongoing thing?
We still meet up and we still have a little couple of shoots down in the woodland there, but not like we used to a long time ago.
Yeah, and I think what's your thoughts on how often people stick around? Because some people have been in here in the hobby for years and years and years, and then you see some people, they may still be in the background. You don't see them on social media, or you don't see them entering competitions anymore, but you still hear about them shooting. What is it that you've seen people kind of coming and going over the years? Is there many people that kind of stick around the whole time, or?
Yeah, I think I haven't honestly seen many people disappear, but I see more joining. And that's a good thing, because we have a lot of youngsters coming up as well. Right? But I never see a lot of people go in. They come and go, but they always come back. So I wouldn't say they go all together. They just go off, take a bit of time out, and they come back.
Right.
And then obviously you welcome them with your open arms.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is getting big. The youngsters are coming up and they get involved, and that's even better now. So it's amazing. My favourite is Sussex Oaks. Gary Harris and his couple of boys, amazing family. And they got a young little kid as well, and I think it is nephew. Oh, that boy, what a family. They've been up to see me many times. They've come down to our competitions, they've shot in the competitions, and they are absolutely amazing. Love them to bits.
And I think, for me, I always hear names that I don't know massively myself from, years ago, who are, big figures in the community, who have done a lot for the community. But I don't know them as a person because, all I've got to go off today is what I see. So it's the people I see on social media, or whether it's videos. And, it is a bit of a shame, really, because I would like to get to know some of these older names. And I hear names. Do you know what I mean? I hear people talk of X, Y, and Z, but I can't say that I know them. But it's nice to know that they're still about, and that they are still within the hobby.
Well, I know.
Like you said, it's also nice to see so many new people come up as well.
I know Gary Harris has got a shoot on soon, and I think it's the 19th to the 21st of July, and it'll be up on Andy Moon's shoot.
Right, there we go.
If you could make that, come down and meet everybody, because you won't be disappointed.
Well, I'm going to the one in September. That's Andy's shoot, isn't it?
Yeah, Andy's coming to shoot one in September, yeah.
So I'll be there for that one. Were you going to be there for that one?
I spoke to you really. I think you're up there in Belgrade. Unless Andy changed the dates for that one, unfortunately I ain't going to be able to make that one.
Right.
But I am going to make Gary Harris as well, which is the Sussex Oaks shoot.
Well, Well, I am looking to do, a couple. It can be difficult with the missus, the little one, all the dogs we got, and all that sort of stuff. But especially next year, I think Harrogate is one that I've got to go to. I know that's quite a big one. That's one that I want to do.
Harrogate is a very good shoot.
And there's a couple of others as well, and it will be fantastic fantastic.
I've been to the Harrogate shoot. It's a long old drive from Walkley up to Harrogate. It's a long old day driving. But amazing shoot, very good shoot. You have a good weekend there. You see Jumbo, Skipman, and all them, Ben Barker, and you'll have a good time. You'll have Billy up there, everybody. You get to meet them all. Great time up there.
Well, I've seen some of the results from the one that's just gone, and it was so nice to see because there was a couple of kind of old faces that I know of. I don't know them, and then I've seen a couple of new faces. Some of the people that I see quite often on social media and stuff taking part as well. So, it was a nice mix of sort of old school and new breed people there. So, it definitely sounds like something that's right up my street for next year.
Yeah, there's another good shoot as well. It's Jofi's shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
He puts a good shoot on.
Yeah. I think that was recent. Has it happened yet, or is it coming up? I know there was a little bit of...
I think he's cancelled this year, but
right.
If you've got a chance to go to a shoot, go.
Right. There we go.
Because you love it.
Right. I've got some questions for you now, Terence.
Oh, okay.
So, a few people have asked a couple. So, the first one's from a good friend of mine named Ethan Martin. So, he's got a channel called Tennessee Slanging. He's from Tennessee over in the States. And he wants to know, what's your best advice for preparing for a tournament?
Best advice for preparing?
Practice.
Practice. Plenty of practice. Make sure you practice regular basis. 50 shots every day. Make sure all your bands are exactly the same, and you use the same catapult at all times. And then you get a better understanding of your shooting. And then if you need to change anything, then you can see where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
And then change it then before the competition. So it's basically practice. Same band, same ball, and always shoot the same catapult.
There we go.
Don't swap and change.
The next one is by someone we both know, and that is Dan Layton. What's your next tattoo gonna be?
I knew how I was coming. Well, anyway, Dan has been good to me, and I love what he's doing. Him and Aaron are amazing. John Palfrey, amazing catapult maker. We took him on, and they produce him awesome work. But obviously, that's going to be my next tattoo, which is bigger design.
Nice.
But then Aaron said to me, Terence, if you are well done, he's going to make me a catapult.
Oh, there we go.
So I'm thinking about the Medusa or some of the guys.
Yeah, sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
So, the next one's by Sean Shag Hackleton. So, he says, over the years, we have seen slingshots come and go. In your opinion, which is the best ever made?
Best ever made? Wow, that's a hard question. From the bottom of my heart, it's going to have to be the Aurora Ray test, John Jeffrey's test.
Nice.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
There are other catapults that I love as well. I love this one, which is the Welsh Zeus, made by Greg Pittman. I also love Titan Hunter, made by Chris Crawford. There's so many catapults I love shooting. Pickle fork. I love this one too. absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It's so hard, isn't it?
Fire pro.
Once you've got a good few in your collection, you kind of, it sounds kind of cheesy, but you make a bond with them in a way, don't you? You know,
Yeah,
when
because they've all got a purpose.
yeah, whether
So,
you've made a certain shot or you got it during a time in your life where it meant something, there's all different meanings behind them, and that's what I like about it as well.
the thing is, there's so many catapults out there today, it's hard to choose which one is your favourite. But there's only one in my heart, and that's by John Jeffries Custom, which was made for me, for my granddaughter. So, that is my favourite.
It is a beautiful
Yeah.
frame, and he does such a good job of capturing what people ask
Beautiful.
for. You know, it's
And again, this is the Aurora Ray Apex.
nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
So the next one is by Andy Latham, who has recently just won the East Coast Slingshot tournament. So congratulations to him.
Oh, well done, buddy.
He's only been in the hobby a matter of years, maybe even a year. So very big well done to him. He took out some
Awesome.
top shooters over in the States. And the question he's got for you is, what is your luckiest or most memorable shot to date?
Luckiest memorable one. Well, I would say the Parliament Challenge was the best one because I shot it in under 1.02 seconds.
So how does
But I
that
did.
work? Talk us through the Polo Mint Challenge. What happens with that?
Well, the Parliament Challenge is so many shooters, and you got to shoot that tournament quicker than everybody else.
Right.
So the quickest person who shoots the tournament wins the trophy, the money, and whatever else.
Right.
But I shot it in under 1.2 seconds. But I did do another shot prior to that with a 7mm ball bearing, shooting a 7mm ball bearing at 20 meters, and I hit the ball bearing, but I didn't have it on camera.
Nice. And it's shots like that, isn't it, where you'll always remember them. You know, I've had one or two like that, and I'm always trying to do more. But those shots are the ones that kind of stick with you, and you even surprise yourself. I don't know. Well, you may not, but sometimes I'll think, do you know what? I'm going to go for it, and I don't expect to hit it. And when I do, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what I
think
mean?
the most I ever done, and I'm sure that Andy made it with me, and I done 7 tournaments straight after each other. Well, 7 or 8 there, straight after each other. I'm sure Andy was with me.
Mm.
And the best person I've seen do it as well was Mick Wick.
Yeah.
Mick Wick, he'd smash him out as well.
Nice. Nice. So the next one is by Mr. Andy Mond himself, actually.
Andy.
He did ask another question that I've not added. It was something about how short can you wear your shorts without your bits hanging out the bottom. But
I told you about that.
so
I'm always in shorts.
his real question is, what a catapult in your collection would you choose if you could only shoot one frame forever, and then can he have the rest of them?
Andy's hello boy, I love him the pictures like my brother. He knows I only shoot 2 catapults, and I've given
After
notes
people's frames.
everything.
I'm sure he's asked this question to nearly every single podcast episode. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's just after
man.
everybody's frames.
All the catapults will go to my wife. But Andy, if you ever want anything, just let me know and I'll give it to you.
There we go. Perfect. So the next one, piggybacking off that, is by Maya Jabanputra.
Oh,
So I've
he's
seen
a
him
guy
about as
around.
well. I've had a couple of messages back and forth with him. He seems like a great guy, to be fair. And some of the stuff that he's made is fantastic. But he wants to know, what's the secret to having a lovely smile, a lovely warm smile at all times? And then he says, if you decide not to give your frames to Andy because he already has too many, can he have them?
A good happy marriage, my friend. That's
There we
what
go.
keeps me happy. Think of our Catapult and all to be there. Okay, love. So I'm making it my dad a Catapult. I love the guy the best. So this is my organator, which I've sent to Dan and Aaron so that they can make for themselves.
Right.
But anyway, this one is for our Maya. And I haven't finished it yet.
And that was the frame. Was it a couple of years ago you designed that, wasn't it?
I designed it over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've given everybody in the Welsh Warriors Club one of these. Andy's got one as well. But everyone in the Welsh Warriors Club has got one of these. They call the organator. So, yeah.
Nice. So the last one is by someone that you've mentioned earlier, and that's Russ Connor.
Oh,
when are you
what a
going
band.
to put on another competition, indoor or outdoor?
Come on.
Yeah. When are you going to put another one on?
I would love to put one on, but it'll have to be an intercourse only.
Right.
Because the wife won't let me have it in the community centre anymore. So that's the only place I could really put a shoot on, unless I arrange something for Andy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure just having you somewhere is enough. You know, from what I've heard, I put the questions out, and usually I get a whole bunch of questions of people. But everyone was just saying how much of a nice guy you are, and I'm sat there.
Thank you very much.
These are not questions.
Yeah, well, that's
But it just goes to show, you've made a massive impact on a lot of people in the hobby, and that's great to see. And by speaking to you for the last hour, I can see clearly why people have that sort of respect, and why you have that sort of impact on people.
Can I ask you a question?
You can. I've never had that before, but you can ask me a question.
Oh, thank you very much. Who's your favourite shooter at the moment and why?
My favourite shooter.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Right now, to be honest with you, I would have to say Andy Layton, the fella I just mentioned. That's only because I can resonate with him so much. I've only been shooting for about 2 years, and for someone like that to go to the East Coast Slingshot tournament where there's over 50 people, including people who have been in the hobby stateside for years, like Nathan Masters and Moan Waller, Charlie Steele, Tim Henry, people who are, to go there after such a short period of time.
That's amazing.
Win that competition for me is incredible. So I'd have to say him at the moment.
That's good. It took me 2 years to win my first trophy. And I've had the pleasure of meeting the most beautiful people in the world. I've met Nathan Masters, I've met Mo Waller, I've met them all.
Yeah.
Chris Graffam, I've met them all. Amazing people. Love them all the best. So who's your favourite YouTuber?
God, you put me on the spot. I've got to be impartial here. I can't go dropping names. Well, I have different categories for the people that I watch.
Okay.
For me, in terms of information, it would have to be probably ATO. And
I like them.
That's not in terms of things like entertainment value or the quality of shooting or anything like that. It's just the information that he gives out and the way that he gives information for me is
he does a lot of testing, a lot of frames, gives you a lot of...
I thought he was a teacher at first because the way that he explains stuff, and I can't forget my roots and where obviously Jofi, Chris Graffin, Gamekeeper John, all their videos would always hold dear to me, because that's where I started. That's where
obviously, my favourite is Jofi Slingshot Shooter. Or Jofi Slingshot Anthem.
Yeah.
He is in my heart. Gamekeeper John, Chris Graffin, I could go on, but Then three have got right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they started off so early as well. Do you know what I mean? They started off where they
Yeah.
didn't have as much information as we do now. You know, it's quite easy to be able to share information and talk about things like what I'm doing now because of the amount of information that's put out there. But when those
Yeah.
guys first started, there was nothing about, and everything that they said was off their own back of what they found out themselves. And you know, that's quite difficult. It just goes to show the lengths they had to go through to figure things out and then talk about it. You know, like I said, a lot of things that I talk about is, yes, it's some of my own experiences, but it's stuff that I've heard from other people because it's so well put out there now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's great, but I just love everybody in the Catapult community. I've got a big love for everybody. And every time I see everybody in the competitions, the first thing I do is give everybody a big handshake. And I'm looking forward to all of them.
Well, I was going to say you're the first Welsh person I've had on here, but technically, Aaron's Welsh. I mean, he's North Walian, but you know, it's not. It doesn't quite cut it when we got an accent like yours. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if everyone can understand because I know I look at my views and I look at where people watch from, and I think it's around 45% British, 40% American, and then the rest is sort of like Mexico and a few other countries like that. So if they can't understand you, I'm sorry, but I've been able to understand you perfectly well because I'm a Cardiff boy, grew up in Cardiff.
Cardiff boy, yeah.
But now I'm up in Scotland, so
Aye, up in Scotland now, aye.
that's it.
Why do you go and see Bats?
What's that?
Bats is up in Scotland too.
Who's that?
Good pickle folks and stuff. Bat Edwards.
See, this is what I mean. It's all these names, and and it's not ignorance or it's not not interested. I just don't hear of them. You know, there's a nice lad, James Clarkson. Don't know whether you've heard of him. He's been to a couple of competitions as well, so hopefully get to shoot with him soon. I know he was at Harrogate recently, he's done quite well there. So yeah, there's a few people up here, not quite as many as Wales. It's just happened that I've moved to Scotland, and then I found out there's a load of people in Wales that shoot catapults.
There was another good shooter years ago. I think a lot of people forgot about it. But boy, that boy could shoot. Was Jack Davis. He lived up in North Wales.
Right.
And he was just as good as John Jeffries.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got Andy coming up now. Old Andy Mole's on.
Oh, don't blow his head up anymore. We don't need to talk about how good Andy is.
Aye.
He'll be watching this on his tablet in his kitchen now with a can
Andy
next to him. You know,
Andy don't tell you how many times I beat him.
Right, Terence, I'm going to leave it here, but as always, I'm going to give you a chance just to kind of say anything you want to say just before we leave it, mate.
All right, okay. Yeah. I'd just like to thank all the viewers. Thank you very much for looking in on me. I love you all a bit. Think the world of you. I'm so looking forward to meeting you all again in the next competition. And I wish you all a good day. Have a lovely Father's Day, everybody. And look forward to seeing you soon. Love you bits.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
And you know, I can see why people enjoy your company so much because you seem like a really good guy to be around. So thank you ever so much for doing this, and hopefully we can meet in person soon.
Right, thank you very much, Benji. It's been a pleasure. And I'm so grateful you've asked me to come on your podcast, buddy.
No problem at all, mate. Been an absolute pleasure. We'll speak soon.
Thank you, Bert.
Take care.
Yeah, take care, buddy.